And how about a little old school signal injection? B&K 1076. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the basement shop and part 4 of the 1950 Zenith 12-inch porthole set. Well, what are we going to do with the cabinet? And looking at it, a lot of paint loss here. Now this is a piece of, looks like aluminum. I'm going to pull this out. The cover, we'll just do some cleaning on it and hand cleaner. I think that will darken these spots where it's scuffed, but we'll see. We got to do something with these grills. Take them out, straighten them up. They're both pushed in. As far as the front and the lower portion, this door still looks good. We'll do a little cleaning on it, but it's still bright. Just some general cleaning and paint that bezel. And then we still got to figure out something on the back. If nothing else, I can make one out of some aluminum mesh or steel mesh, but what I've seen is aluminum. That'll at least cover it up and protect the back of the set. We're going to take this front off first. 3 screws. And just a knob pulls off. And 2 Phillips. One here, one over there. And looks like these are just held in with staples. Let's get this pulled out, then we'll look it over, see if we can get that shaped up a little better. Well, cleaned it off. It's still got some bad places in it. Not too worried about that, but we need to get it straightened up. Now this, I think this one, if I cut some cardboard, I think that'll flatten that out. This other one has a speaker in it. So, not sure what I can do there. Guess once we pull it out, we'll come up with a plan for it. What might work even better, piece of plywood. There's room for probably a 1/4-inch plywood without any problem. Now I can glue it to the plywood, and that, I would think that would flatten it out. This is my pattern. It's cut pretty close. A little longer on the sides wouldn't hurt. Speaker side looks just like the other side. Just doesn't have staples here in the end because the speaker board goes there. It's not quite as sagged or drooped as the other one. Even the cardboard piece doesn't look too bad. But same size, so we'll cut 2 pieces of plywood. And I could even cut around the speaker and leave this all 1 piece of plywood. A little cold down in the shop today because we just got some fresh snow and really cold weather, so we'll work on that when it warms up. Right now I'm going to do some cleaning on this, and I've already started over here just using hand cleaner, and we'll address these scratches and dings, see if we can cover them up, make them look better. already some improvement. This hand cleaner tends to not only clean, but it kind of darkens it too, which is good. Cover up some of those bad places. Most of the really bad scratches and tears are over on this edge. Kind of dirty too. Looks like white paint or something right there. I don't know if I can get that off or not. Sure would like to. And kind of rough there, but the cleaner has darkened even those bad places, as I thought it would. You can see the front. Really, that's the only bad place on it now. But it still looks a lot better than it did when I started. Next, I'm going to see if I can get this white paint off. Got most of it off. Did have to use some acetone, but I was careful not to leave it on there very long. Couldn't get that one off. I think it's paint, but I scrubbed pretty hard, and I don't want to overdo it. So now we're going to try some Howard's Restore finish. See if it darkens it any. Well, I'm going to call that okay. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a 75-year-old set too, so can't expect it to be perfect. One more thing before I set it down. These old feet wore out, crumbly. They don't have a screw, they have a nail and a washer on those two. So I'm assuming that's the way all four of them were attached. I'll get these other two off down here and see. Yep, another nail. Nail with a twisted thread. Definitely pulls out easier. You can turn it. It's sort of like threads on a nail. And forward rubber feet. Well, there was what's left of the tube layout chart. I hadn't noticed that till just now. It's a shame. Wish that had been intact. Might have told us more than what we know about this set. Took the glass out, cleaned it on both sides, and it's held in with these little brackets and two screws. Okay. These gold trim pieces behind the knobs, they're kind of chipped up, missing the coating, missing the paint or whatever there is on the outside of them. They just fasten through these four slots. We'll straighten those out, pull those out, and we can at least repaint those. Well, that's a surprise. They're gold on the backside too. So if I can carefully bend those tabs to this side and turn this out, that'll take care of that problem. Well, so far so good. Haven't broke one off. So now we got to finish the bend. Well, I only broke one, the bottom of this one, but it's still tight. So that looks better. I don't know that that's the same type finish that was on the other side originally, but it looks better. All right, I'm mixing paint now. I think I'm pretty close to. It's a dark plum. I'm going to attempt to touch this up. Paint missing here, so I'm going to try it in this area. And I know it won't match exactly, but I think it is going to work. This side here and see how it comes out. Yeah, it's a little oxidized, and I could sand it, but I don't want to sand off the paint that's already there. And how did I come up with that color? Well, I had this craft paint. I do some plastic model builds sometimes. And this is called Dark Plum. And it wasn't quite dark enough, so I just added just a tad of black on that right-hand side there. Well, I'm definitely okay with that. And fastening this internal antenna wire back. Came loose here, so just drove the staples back in. And like that's the last staple, and then it hooks up to the chassis. And 2 screws in the front. Well, guess it's time to work on those grills on each side. Okay, here's the plan. This is the one for the speaker. Goes on the speaker side. I don't know if it'll straighten it out completely, but it should surely help. I'm going to use some spray adhesive. Spray adhesive, both pieces. Waited a few minutes, stuck them together, and I cut these 2 boards, hold it down, clamped. So we'll leave this clamped down for a while just to make sure the glue has done its thing, and hopefully the plywood is stuck to the grill. Well, let's see how we did. Well, it's flat. Looks good. Grill is in the opening, so I'm going to take the staple gun, staple around the edge of this to hold it in. Now we're ready for the speaker. I think that should be in the right position. Let's see. speaker board put in place, screwed down tight. Staples around the rest of the cardboard. So let's see what it looks like. Well, that's much better than it was. Okay, I'll just repeat on this side. This one just, of course, the solid board. We'll staple this first and then put the cardboard piece around the edge. All right. I put a few more staples in what it had in it originally. So let's flip it around and see what this side looks like. That'll do. Well, I've played this chassis for a couple of days now. Still working fine. I'll try the picture switch one more time just to be sure we're not over scanning too much. That looks about right. Let's get the chassis put in the cabinet. I have the cabinet over here on this table, and that allows me to access to this chassis screw. Chassis doesn't slide in too well. It's rather thin, so it wants to flex. Had to do a little maneuvering to get this switch in the right position as I slid the chassis in, but that's where it belongs. And now we'll put this cover over the switch, get this fastened down. Back over here on the bench and doing a little finishing up this speaker wire. And looking back, I could have made it a little shorter, but I think this chassis was made for combo units too, maybe, and that's why the original was the length it was. So that's okay. We've got it the same. And I just put a fastener here, ground wire, hook back up, all the chassis screws tight. Knob cleaning's next. I'll put some water and a little bit of Windex. Just use this old toothbrush. Usually gets the job done pretty well. Well, they turned out okay. I think they're good enough. There's how dirty the water got when we was cleaning them. All right, all the knobs on. And a channel indicator right in the middle. I noticed something when I was cleaning this cabinet. This is a piece of wire that wraps around all the way to the bottom on both sides and up underneath. And I think originally that was a gold color. And I have these paint pens. And you can see I've used this one here. We'll clean that and repaint that little piece. And I couldn't resist. Sprayed the channel selector and the on-off volume knob with some clear. So we have one more thing to do, and that's come up with some kind of a back. I have an idea on that, so I'm going to turn this set around Show you what I have in mind. I'm going to use a piece of a mesh. It's kind of what this set had on it originally. I'll show you a picture of that. Not the exact model, but this shows you that it did use a metal type mesh for the back. Now this AC interlock, it does protrude out probably 1.5 inches from the back. So hopefully I can bend that mesh around this and still fasten it. There's 2 holes, there's one in the top, one in the bottom. There was rivets there originally. There's that old piece of the back. Let's cut this piece of cardboard. And we're going to go above these controls. So I'm going to use the controls to set this on. And we're going to mark it around the edge. I think you can see that. Used a blue Sharpie. That's the shape of the back of the set. So we'll cut it out and then we'll trim it again after we're sure this is in the right shape. That's close. And we're going to trim off about 1/2 inch. That'll bring us into here. That's close enough for a pattern. And here's a mesh I plan on using for a back. Oh, it is pretty stiff. And this is approximately 1/16 inch thick. So that's stiff enough. Using these nippers. This cut's really easy. That's not a bad fit. I'm going to put some rubber all the way around this once I get it cut to the right shape. The AC cord, taking the cord back out of the receptacle. So we'll put this in there, get us a mark on where it needs to be. We're getting there. Here I've taken a white marker and marked where the AC input, the jack goes, top and bottom, and then over here where the antenna terminals will come out. I may do something else different here. Maybe cut this at an angle and come across right under the interlock and then back down, because that's kind of crude looking there where you adjust the controls and reach around. Yeah, that definitely looks better where I've trimmed this. Cut it around here. Still protecting getting your hands inside the set and makes the controls easier to get to. AC interlock fastened. And I'm putting 300 ohm connections here on this antenna input. Have one rivet in already. I'll rivet this other side. And then I'll attach some wires on the back side. And we'll hook them up to the terminals on the back of the tuner. I'll just leave the wire long enough to where I can get to those connections inside. And then we'll put a matcher on the outside. Here's a rubber edging I'll use around the edge of the back. Those 2 red strips peel off and there's adhesive underneath each side. So hopefully that will stay on. Let's see how it's going to work. I'm going to separate it as I go to get it on here with that metal edge. We'll get the cover off the adhesive. We can pull it. I'm going to start right here under the AC outlet. And once we get it started, just peel this red covering back. And it's supposed to stick. So there's a good start. I'm going to finish this all the way around and I'll show you what it looks like. Well, got it on there. Wasn't too easy, but I think it will stick because when you pull that red cover off, it is really sticky. Nothing left to do now but put it on the set. Put our antenna leads on. And I have some black screws that I come up with. Well, now we have a back on it. And just covered a little bit of the vent holes right in here. But the rest of them are this side too. But the rest of these are still open. And this is open too. Now it is a fine mesh, so not a lot of ventilation there. But it's open here at the bottom. So we can get air up in there and out of there. I'm going to spin it around here and we'll turn it back on, make sure everything's working, and wrap this video up. And how about a little old school signal injection? B&K 1076. So that completes the restore on this 1950 Zenith 12-inch porthole model G2327Z. I've enjoyed restoring this set. Chassis design is just a little different than what I typically work on. But as far as picture quality, the tuner, the video circuit, it is really working well. And we have plenty of brightness on that tube. So I'm satisfied with the restore on this set. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. We hope you've enjoyed the video. And if you did, how about giving us a like and subscribe to our channel? Thanks.